Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by Living To Do's review of the movie Unstoppable. Unstoppable is now on Prime Video. The movie stars Jharrel Jerome, Jennifer Lopez, and Don Cheadle. This movie is based on a true story. It's about a young man named Anthony Robles. He lives in Arizona and he's a high school wrestler, but he was born with one leg. He was great while he was in high school. He was so good. After their champion season, he was offered a scholarship, a full scholarship to Drexel College, which is located in Philadelphia, which is really nice, but he actually wanted to go to a school in Iowa because they were known to have a great wrestling program. They were number one in the country, but they didn't offer him a scholarship. Arizona State, his home state, didn't offer one to him either, but he could try out as a walk-on. Anthony made the decision to go to Arizona. One reason was to be closer to his family. He was the oldest of 5 kids. His mother, played by Jennifer Lopez, had a husband who worked as a correctional officer at one of the prisons there. Her husband was a character. He was violent in the home, beating on his wife, leaving the family at times to fend for themselves. One time when Anthony was young, he and his little brother were in the back seat of the car. The dad, looks like they were at a strip mall, and let the mother out to go into the store. While they were waiting for her, the 2 boys were playing in the car, and this father said to him, "You know I'm not your father, right?"
Anthony, I want to tell you something. You know I'm not your dad, right? Hey.
He pointed out to the other boy in the car. He goes, "That's my son. I'm not your dad." And I was just thought to myself, the way that little boy looked in the rearview mirror, or looked at his father, or who he thought was his father, it just sat there in silence. It's trauma is what that was. You tell him in that way. First of all, he has a disability. He's this little boy. And first of all, he doesn't look like the rest of the family. This little boy was black. Everybody else is Mexican. How did that make him feel? I don't think it didn't show him talking to his mother about it, but I just saw that and I was just in pain for that kid. What a terrible way to find out. Just no softness at all. Just turn your world upside down and just don't even think about what that could do to somebody. During tryouts for the wrestling team at Arizona State College, the wrestling coach was played by Don Cheadle. He had a conversation with Anthony, and he found out that Anthony had a full scholarship to another college, and Don Cheadle's, the coach, he thought that Anthony should accept that because he couldn't offer that to Anthony. But he only had the tryouts, the walk-on tryouts. Anthony was there. He did really good to the point where he made the team. After tryouts and being a team member, they do their training, and they live in Arizona, so they got a lot of mountains there. They showed that the team would go to a particular mountain and jog up the mountain. So Anthony doesn't want any handouts. He works extremely hard to get where he is. He gets to the mountain before the team, and we see him with crutches. He doesn't have a prosthetic leg. Crutches. He never had a prosthetic leg. He only had crutches. We see him with his crutches jog up the mountain. The team gets there sometime later, and the coach, and they start jogging up the mountain. Of course, they can pass him, and they get to the end point, and they can turn around and they just wait for the last people, which is Anthony. And you could tell the coach, couldn't believe he could do it. It was inspiring that this is a true story. This is something that actually happened. They even showed him when they were trying out running on the track at the school and they had weights on their back. He figured out a way to tie the weight up under his arm and continue to run the track with that weight on him. This is the type of training he put himself through. You know, it's interesting because wrestling doesn't usually, I don't really think you go professional. Maybe you do. I haven't really seen that. The WWE, that kind of stuff. But what are you really working towards? Because the end game is college, it looks like, for most of these people, even the great ones. But this kid kept on doing this. He wanted to make something out of himself. He didn't want people to see him as, pathetic, pitiful. He wanted to make something out of himself by himself, like a man, like a person, like a human, like an able body. His performance in college was great, but there was one year that the wrestling team program was cut because of cutbacks at the university. Eventually, money was found and the program resumed. However, not everybody could come back. Because of the cuts, it didn't cover for everyone to come back. And apparently there wasn't a spot for Anthony. The team gets wind of this and they're saying to themselves, we're not going to come back unless Anthony comes back. And it had to be a unanimous vote. And everybody on the team said they wouldn't come back until he did. Of course, he accepts the offers or the invitation to come back and be on the team. He makes it to the championships where there's this guy from Iowa, the school he wanted to go to. He was going to have to face him. So their match begins and he's trying hard. Actually, he came out too aggressively. He came out real aggressively, and I think he did this because he finally got to meet this one guy that he's been training so hard to be matched up against. And I think he just was too excited and he came out too aggressively, it made him weak, I think. And I think his opponent could see his weaknesses and he was able to win that match, the guy from Iowa. Next year is his senior year. He makes the championships again and he meets that guy from Iowa again. And at this match, he was able to overtake him and win the match and be the champion, which is what the story is all about. This guy, one leg, makes it from nothing. He wasn't even getting a scholarship from the school that he attended, that he took all the way to the championship and won. Little kids were writing him letters. They're all inspired. It was a great movie. I mean, to know that this is a true story about this guy. This guy went on to be a motivational speaker. Of course he was. Anthony was the kid who was able to accomplish so much. He did all that. He was working a job cleaning windows on airplanes. His father, one of their last times that we see him, was beating his mother. Anthony broke that fight. He was a wrestler. He got that guy in a chokehold. The police came and took his stepfather away. His mother was going to lose the home because the father didn't stop paying the mortgage. And I guess they were behind several months. This story will move you. It's so inspiring with the spirit of, it gives you that can-do spirit. It's true. It's a true story. So it was a very emotional story. The boy, Anthony, he was the first athlete to be signed by Nike after retiring from their sport. He's a successful motivational speaker, but of course he is. He's such a motivating spirit. He also won an ESPY award in 2011. In 2012, he joined ESPN as an NCAA wrestling analyst. In 2013, President Obama appointed him on the President's Council of Fitness, Sports, and Nutrition. In 2022, he took over as the wrestling coach at his high school. This was a fantastic movie. I definitely recommend that you see this movie. And the casting on this movie was really good. Jennifer Lopez did a very good job. The stepfather that was there playing the stepfather, excellent job. Jharrel Jerome, following his career for several years now, excellent actor. I can't wait to see more of his work. Thank you for staying with me to the end. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I really would appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. But I gotta go because I got living to do. Bye.